today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
We're back with episode 66 of Shop Talk. It's Jennifer.
And Kari.
And we're discussing 504 of The Rookie, which is part 1 of the crossover, and 103 of Rookie Feds. So it's going to be a long, crazy episode, but we do have some episode descriptions to go through. So do you want to take us through the first one?
Yeah, so the first one we have is for Rookie Feds. It's 105 called Felicia, and Simone and Carter get trapped in the tropics while hunting down a suspect on the run. Simone's unexpected meet cute with Dina throws a wrench into Cuddy's love life, and Elena's high-end fashion splurge cracks open an unsolved murder mystery. Alrighty then. That's a lot.
Yeah. That's the episode that airs next week.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I feel like the Rookie Feds is very much like The Rookie in season 1, where they have like 4 different storylines going on at the same time. And it's just like, somehow they kind of connect, but like really, it's just kind of all over. But I think that's just how they find their footing. So,
yeah. Well, I'm just still wondering like if the trapped in the tropics thing has anything to do with like
the beach.
Like, yeah, the beach. Well, because Brendan and Laura are there, were there too. So it's like, did they rescue them or like what?
Right.
I just don't know how they're like supposed to pull this off if they're supposed to actually like have like flown, on their fancy jet to like get to wherever the heck they're going, and then they get trapped there somehow.
Yeah, like how do they get trapped?
I don't know.
The jet like runs out of fuel. Like
I don't know. I'll be curious to see.
Know.
That's what I mean. Like I don't know if it like,
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I'm excited regardless.
Yeah. Oh, same. I've really grown to love the Simone and Carter partnership. Like especially after 104 or 103 too. Like I've really grown to love it. So I'm excited.
You can just tell that like everyone has like so much fun on set that it just like kind of carries over to like their vibe.
Yeah.
Like on screen.
Mm-hmm. Well, and just like what the actors like put into it that we can only assume is not scripted, like the Brendan and Laura stuff from this episode, like just the little like smiles and body language and so we also have the episode description for 106 of Rookie Feds airing November 1st, and it's titled The Reaper. When Simone and Carter go undercover to find an international assassin known as the Reaper, a prisoner seeking bail recognizes Carter and nearly blows his cover. Laura and Brendan trace the lead on the Reaper's assault rifle, while Brendan works to heal his relationship with his dad. Meanwhile, Simone's demanding work schedule puts a strain on her relationship with DJ, who is also Dina. DJ is just a nickname, so we were talking about that before, but that should be good. So, yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of fitting, like for the day after Halloween too. I don't know, the episode title, the International Assassin. Yeah, we'll see.
True.
So.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it, but that does work. I just like Simone, like I was so like excited for like Simone's love life. I just hope it's not like a super up and down. Like I don't know. Of course, maybe that's like fun for like Niecy and Jessica to like play that because obviously they're married in real life, so it's like you get to do something different. How like Jenna and Steve obviously got to do something very different from their relationship on the Rookie. So I don't know, but I'm like, because it's a similar thing for both of those. Like Simone's like meeting with Dina like is thrown off somehow, so it's like I don't know, just interesting.
I also wonder if like surely not, but you never know, like if DJ/Dina will be the only love interest for Simone. Like will this carry us through?
Yeah.
Or like are they gonna kind of do like a John Nolan thing where it's like every season Simone has a new love interest? Like I don't know. Man. I would think not because of how the actors are in real life, but you never know. So yeah. I also don't really want to have like that happen for Simone, I think, where it's like every season she has a new love interest. Like, no, let's give her one but so Should be exciting.
Yeah. And then we also have an episode description for 507 of The Rookie, which is airing November 6th. It's called Crossfire, and it's Officer John Nolan and Selena witness a shooting and realize the victim was already dead and investigate further. Back at home, Bailey has been feeling off center ever since the proposal, leaving Nolan to wonder what he can do to make her feel more comfortable. Elsewhere, Lopez and Harper enlist Lucy's help to investigate the gang-related murder of a local shopkeeper. And this episode is going to be was directed by John Harkness from Castle.
And This Is Us, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah. I am so looking forward to seeing Lopez, Harper, and Lucy. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because
I just find it funny that they like use the last names for some and then like or don't put like Selena's last name, but then put John's full name. Like I don't know. It's just the odd.
Well, and even
but anyway, sorry, continue.
Even in some of the episode descriptions, like they'll say Officer Bradford, and it's like he's not an officer though, he's a sergeant. So yeah, it's just kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I love that like we're getting Harper, Angela, and Lucy all in like one episode, like working together, because this week when that preview dropped hours before the episode, there were like some people saying like, oh, you know, they didn't like Lucy or whatever, and so I'm glad that there's going to be some girl power. And also like ABC just like spoiled a part of the episode. You know what? I just thought though, maybe it's not like a marriage proposal. Maybe it's like a new job or something.
Oh, like, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
it's kind of odd.
Like the actual like word.
Yeah.
You can like it can mean different things.
Yeah. So. But I actually just saw this on Twitter before we started recording. But 106 of Rookie Feds is the episode that Melissa talked about the other day, with like Steph, the writer, and said that it's UC related. So maybe we'll finally have some details about that month in Sacramento. I don't know. Interesting. We're going to talk about 504, titled The Choice. We open the episode to see Bailey and her team on the way to the wellness check. They get to the house and it's empty. There's not even squatters there. So they check in the house, see that it's empty. And Bailey hears a faint voice saying, "Help me." So she takes another step forward and falls into a tank. The grate then comes across the top and she sees the words, "I got you," in like red paint. And the cameras, and so she instantly knows that it's Rosalind. So we see Selena and John driving, because this episode, it was just like one big storyline. So we cut over to see Selena and John driving, and she asks him what time he was born. And he's thinking that's another astrology thing. And she's like, no, it's not. It's something totally different. But she ends up copying to it. And she wants to know what his big three are, basically. And so she claims that because they ride together, like if he suffers a trauma, so does she. And so she's like, I should be checking your chart daily. And he's just like, I'm glad that you're sharing your beliefs more openly these days. So far we know that Selena is into saging things and astrology charts, which love that for her. And so he gets a call from Bailey, and she's like, I'm in trouble. And so she shares what happened, and he's on his way. So her team like tries to get the grate open while they're waiting on John and back up. But the person that has their hands on the grate ends up getting electrocuted. And so we see Gray and Harper. We see Gray call for Harper and Lopez at the district. And he like gives them the rundown on Bailey. And Harper's like, I guess it was too much to hope that we never see her again. And so the police roll up to the house and Tim commands the scene. Lucy's riding alone, and she asks if they're sure that it's Rosalind, but no one's really sure what's going on yet. So John's, they get in. John's like, well, we can cut through the grate as long as we're not grounded. But Bailey's like, well, I think that there's more booby traps. So she sends him a video, and they see that it looks like it's packed explosives. So they're also working on cutting the power to the house. And then John pulls Tim aside, while Lucy and Selena stay with Bailey, and they get in the shop to strategize. And John's like, we have to assume that the entire house is bugged with cameras, and anything that like we try to do to get her out will provoke a reaction. So John's like, I think she's in a steel tank, but there's no basement door, because Rosalind probably walled it off. So, they're like, we should be able to cut through the floor, but we'll have to do it away from the cameras to not like let on that they're saving Bailey. So then Angela and Nyla join the party, and Nyla's like, well, we're taking point on this investigation. And so they add that like Rosalind couldn't have done this alone because that steel tank isn't something that you buy at Home Depot, and like she's not a construction type, so they're like, she has another accolade. And John's just like, well, I can put together a list of building materials, and if we can source them, like we can figure out who bought them, and where. So Lucy then joins the party. At this point, there's like 5 people in the shop, and she shares that what they've already figured out. And you can just tell that she's like trying to process what's going on. But she shares that she wants to stay there and make sure that Bailey isn't down there by herself. And so then Nyla, Angela, and Aaron all go back to the station to find out like who built this tank. And John sees a blind spot that they can cut into the floor with back at the scene. So then as they're trying to cut with the saw, spikes come out under Bailey's feet. And they deduce that it probably wasn't Rosalind seeing them come, but it was a motion sensor under the floor that they triggered. And that they can still get to the basement through the floor. They just have to take the floor apart more carefully. So the power is able to be cut, and they're worried that it's like that it'll trigger something else, which it does because water is now filling up the tank. And there's only a few hours until the tank fills up. And so John's phone rings in the middle of all of this because why wouldn't it? And it's Rosalind, and she alerts him. She tells him that if he alerts anyone that she's on the phone, Bailey will die. And so he tells Bailey that he'll be right back. And she's like, really? Like, you're leaving me in the middle of all of this? So he goes outside. Rosalind says that, nothing anyone does will save her. And he's the only one who can save Bailey. So she wants him to hand himself over to her. And so she says that the offer will expire in 5 seconds, and she wants him to take off his body cam while walking down the driveway to find a blue station wagon. And so John questions like why she did this. She got away, was coming back was a bad move. And Rosalind's just like, well, it shows how much I missed you. And so she wants him to take off his belt, badge, and weapons, and then turn his pockets inside out. And so John's like, well, I'm not going to leave my gun here for some kid to find. So she tells him to find a way. And so he ends up dumping the things into the garbage can. And she even wants him to lose his backup piece. So he gets into the car to see this really creepy teddy bear. Like, it's literally called a creepy bear. And there's a camera on the inside of it, and it's hooked up to the Bluetooth in the car, and its eyes are poked out. And there's even a phone in the car that Rosalind talks from, and like she wants his phone thrown out the window. So she tells him to drive, but he's like, no, I want something now. And so then he ends up giving her an app on the phone. There's an app on the phone in the car, and it's essentially a camera that is watching Bailey. So Rosalind's like going to torture John by having him watch everything that she's doing to Bailey. And so then like later, Selena asks if they've seen Nolan, and, he's not answering his phone or his radio. And Lucy's like, well, he would never leave Bailey, so something's wrong. And so she calls over the radio for him, nothing. Selena thinks that she hears his radio, but like everyone's on theirs and they have it turned up. So it's kind of hard to tell. So Selena kind of commands the scene, asks them all to shut off their radios. And then they run towards the garbage cans because Lucy keeps calling for Nolan. And so then it's time for another shop talk session, which, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should intro all of our episodes like that, because we've had quite a few, like, they're all like talking in the shop or like they hint at it. So then this time it's Selena, Lucy, and Tim. And Tim's just like, well, John will think of a way to signal them, like, but I'll give Gray, a heads up. And so we cut over to John, and he sees the hazard lights button like on the car, and he tries to push that, but Rosalind's 3 steps ahead of him and has already disabled it. So he sees a red sports car behind them trying to like swerve past him, and he like brake checks him and all of that. And so the red car got in front of John. The driver's all pissed off, wants to fight him. And Rosalind's disappointed in him. And she's like, now Bailey's going to be punished. So we cut over to see sparklers or something like on top of her in the water. And John is literally watching it on the phone. Like, this is torture. And it's potassium amide, which is a chemical that hates water. And Rosalind's like, there's enough in there to blow the whole tank. So John promises to never do anything like that again. And Rosalind's like, get rid of this guy. If John does anything to alert this other driver that, he's talking to Rosalind, then she'll cook Bailey to death. So John like gets out and just decks the guy. And then he like ever so subtly leaves his card, and he gets back in the car, drives away. Rosalind's like, you're running late. So Bailey asks Lucy like where John is. And when Lucy can't answer, Tim's just like, he's outside with the engineers, like, using that construction knowledge. So Selena tries to lighten the mood and tells Bailey that, she held her breath for a long time. And Bailey's like, well, death by fire is a great motivator. And I also did some competitive diving when I was younger. Another Bailey, like, history moment, which, love to see that. So Lucy says that she wishes she could say that was the last time she'd have to do that, but she can't. And Bailey asks what the longest time is that someone's ever held their breath. So they look it up, and Bailey tries to break the record each time that something happens to her, but like also just randomly to try and keep her mind off of things. And I kind of drew the parallel that this was similar to Lucy singing in the barrel. Like when Lucy was supposed to like save her breath, she was singing to kind of like keep herself occupied and calm. And I felt like this was kind of similar to that. So
yeah.
So then Nyla and Angela walk into Gray's office. He's like, I just got a Nolan sighting. Smitty responded to a road rage incident where a guy in the red Porsche got knocked out by a guy in a blue station wagon. Nolan's business card was left behind. We've got an airship going to the area and all of that. So then Rosalind like thinks that Nolan is mad because he's just driving, not saying anything. And he's like, no, I'm just tense. Like, just let Bailey go and I'll still meet with you. So the airship sees the blue station wagon, but as John enters the parking garage and backup is like not close behind them, but they're coming up. He is like supposed to drive up to the 5th floor, park the car, and then like run up 2 flights of steps. And Rosalind's like, take the bear in the phone and you have to get up to the 7th floor. There's a work van and that's your car switch. So then like he exits the parking garage in the work van just as police backup is like turning into the parking garage. And so Smitty finds the station wagon and he shares that there is no sign of Nolan. So then we go back over to the tank, and there's a motion sensor, and they find a way to kill it so that they can go down into the basement. And Bailey knows that Lucy is lying, because she's still wondering where John is, and Lucy's just not able to tell her. And so she wants to know the truth. So Lucy ends up telling her, and Bailey's like, he did that to save me. Like, I know him, and I know what, in his heart of hearts he would do. And so Lucy says that she'll go down because they end up getting the floorboard off to go down into the basement. And so Tim shuts that down real quick. And he's like, there could be more traps and it's too dangerous. Just be ready to follow if it's clear. So he's going down first, and they hold eye contact the entire time he goes down. And once he gets down there, like he's searching around, he clears it, and she's on her way down too. I'm sorry, but I could not stop thinking about that interview with Mario Lopez when Eric was like, yeah, I was alerted to like this moose knuckle thing or whatever. And I was like,
oh
why am I thinking
I was
that?
even thinking about that. Oh my God. I was thinking about the behind the scenes video that Eric posted with the Indiana Jones theme song. So that was like what I was thinking of. I completely forgot about the Mario Lopez interview. Oh my God.
No, I was like thinking about that today on my second watch, and I was like, why? Like, why am I thinking that? Yeah. So then so he ends up getting down there, he clears it, and she's on her way down too. So he was hoping that the water line would be easy for them to cut off, but it's under solid cement because again, why wouldn't it be? Rosalind and whoever helped her build this really thought of everything. So Angela found something like back at the district from an abduction 2 years ago. And a girl was abducted and woke up in a full tank of water. And she ended up escaping, but she couldn't remember where she was. So it turns out that the investigation didn't turn up with anything, and it looks like they closed the case. But then, like, detectives said that they didn't have enough to go on. So they re-interview the girl who was abducted, and she shares more about his clothing. And she's like, he was wearing coveralls, they stunk, all of that. And so Brensen ends up coming in, and they go over what they found with Nyla and Angela. This foursome right here, chef's kiss. Oh my gosh. And then Aaron walks in and he's like, I got the guy. Like, I found a clerk in some valley who sold him the parts he needed. And Laura's like, great, we'll get a warrant. And Aaron's like, well, I got an address where all the building materials were delivered to. So let's go. So that's kind of where the middle of the episode was. But yeah, so do you want to take it from here?
Sure. So obviously, like Jennifer said, so they're like going to that address. So they're all geared up, like the five of them, to hit the warehouse. And they go in and search the place. And it's like, I always hate when TV shows, I mean, I understand it. They're in a dark space. Like, there's not going to be much like natural light. But like, oh my God, the whole entire time they're just like roaming around because like Laura and Brendan are covering the back. And then Nyla, Angela, and Aaron are going in through the front doors. So they're like hopefully trying to meet in the middle. So they can like surround him. But like the whole entire time they're like moving through it. I'm like, okay, can't really see anything, can't really see anything, can't really see anything. And so like they sort of come like they think that they've got him. Like they're like on this, I don't even know, like almost like a platform. I don't know if it was like stairs. That's what I mean. I couldn't tell what the heck it was. But they're like this close to getting him, and like he hits some kind of, I don't know if it was like a button or like a switch or something, and like lights up the entire building. Well, it's like some sort of like toxic like fumes of some kind, because like then they're all like coughing and having trouble breathing, and they like obviously need to get out of the building. And I was so freaked out because I thought they were all gonna be like trapped in there, like for sure. Like I thought they weren't gonna be able to get out. But I mean, they do successfully manage to get out. But unfortunately, the guy's in the wind, so like they don't know where he went. And so they like everyone's all frustrated, obviously, because like they thought, okay, this Jeffrey guy's like the one guy that they thought that they could actually get because they found all the information, but they struck out. So thankfully we have part two though, because like that would just like really suck though if it like ended there, you know what I mean? Like that they didn't actually get the people.
See, this is where it would be nice if part two was following right after. Just saying.
So true. Or at least like today, like Monday.
Yeah. We would have just pushed the episode then.
It's fine.
Yeah. Hopefully
it's fine. We'll survive. But
hopefully next season, if there is a season 2, which I hope so, hopefully they end up moving them onto the same night. Same.
Yeah. Like even if they have to, I mean, I'm kind of accustomed to Rookie Sundays now, but like even if they had to move, because like season 1 of the Rookie was on Tuesday, so like even if they had to move the Rookie over to Tuesday to like coincide with Feds, I'd be fine with that. But it's just like, I mean, like I said, glad we have part 2.
Yeah.
But like still, I'm just like, it would have, I mean, it's still good. I don't know, because like we had talked about it earlier, how like the ending was kind of like a little bit not anticlimactic, but just like after everything else, it was like
Right.
just kind of like everything just like dropped.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I almost
so
wonder if they put, oh, sorry.
yeah.
I almost wonder if they put
Oh
Feds
no, you're
on
fine.
Tuesday night just to see how it would do. And then like they would move that over to Sunday, like how they did for the Rookie. I don't know. One can hope, but we'll see. So anyway, back to the episode.
Yeah. Oh, so me being, how I am, the guy that plays who we're assuming is Rosalind's acolyte and the guy that's named Jeffrey, is Thomas Dekker, and he was on the Secret Circle with Britt Robertson, and I literally like put this in my outline for our wish list episode. So I was like geeking out. I was like, oh my god, because I was like waiting and waiting and waiting, because in that show he like did a lot of like intense like I don't know, like eye contact, or like there were just lots of eyes, and like his eyes are very like intense. He does that very well, like in expressions. So literally like when they just showed like his eyes, because obviously this character has like a full beard and like longer hair, I was like, nope, that's him. I was like, I didn't even need any more. I was like, nope, that's him.
I will say the actor does have really beautiful eyes. Like, I don't know. I feel like he just has like he doesn't age. Because I feel like
he really
what he did in Seventh Heaven, like what I remember him in. So
yeah, which is like, it's just so funny because the Secret Circle aired like it would have been like 10 years ago now. And so they both look the exact same. And so, well, I'm assuming that like a lot of people were like confused on Twitter. I don't know if you saw this. Like people were confused if like that same guy that they didn't catch in the building is like the same guy that we see in the promo. And I'm like, yes, but I'm assuming he just ditched the beard and the long hair.
Yeah.
And then like, and Thomas Dekker looks like how he does like in real life. So I'm assuming the like beard and long hair was like a wig or like add-on. But I mean, I'd hope I'm not wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, but it would make sense if it's the same guy, because why else would they like introduce a new guy? I mean, I guess to throw us off. I don't know. I didn't get a good look at him the first watch, and even kind of like second watch, because I was just doing other outline stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, to me it wouldn't make any sense if they had like introduced one guy in the Rookie and made us believe that was Jeffrey, but I guess they very well could to like make it, I don't know, a twist. I mean, even like
reading an extra something.
Even reading some listener thoughts, like other people are still speculating like, certain things or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. We actually have this guy's name though. But again, like the Rookie could totally spin it. So I don't know. I do think that it's the same guy though. I think he just ditched the beard and the longer hair or whatever.
Well, and then he has like some kind of like weird like mask thing that he's like wearing, and like
it looks like a bird mask
for Fed. Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So then that's like another like piece of it. Just, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. But anyway, yes. So like,
oh yeah, go.
Oh no, I was just, oh my god, like you guys just don't understand. Like I literally put that in the outline. Like I was so far reaching, just because of the fact that they starred on that show like 10 years ago. And like, oh my god, I just about lost my mind because he's gonna be on Feds, which is Britt's show. So
I am convinced
if they don't post a selfie, I'm gonna take it like personally, to be honest. Just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I'm convinced that you and our friend M have something to do with the shows, because like you guys manifest stuff and then it comes true, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? I mean, he manifested Wesley's office, and then it was like next episode or two we saw it. I'm like, wait a minute, do you have like some kind of superpower?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh my God. But I was just, I mean, because like I said, I had no, no, I was just reaching so far. And it was, oh my God, it was just fantastic.
I love it. Going back to the bird masks though, I mean, today being Monday when we're recording this, they had released a sneak peek of the rookie feds and they saw the
Oh,
bird
that's
mask.
true. Yeah,
And
I
it was
did.
like a smaller version. I'm like, oh no. I don't know if that's worse than Creepy Bear or what, but like they're both bad. So
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize like like creepy like animal face
yeah.
more or less.
I'll never look at a teddy bear the same again. Like, I'm sorry, that was just too much.
Yeah, no, it's so weird. I swear though, I think it's just an ABC thing. Because I was watching Wednesday's episode of Big Sky, and there was like a wolf mask that someone was wearing to like murder people in, and I was just like, okay, like I don't know if that's just a,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was so weird. But yeah, I'm like,
Right.
I don't know. I wish Feds was here like right now, but it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be when you guys are listening to this.
Yeah. But like we still have to wait another day and a half or like a day now. Yeah. It would be starting this time tomorrow. Yeah.
Because it's very late right now. So yeah. But anyway, okay, so back to the episode. Just had to get, my like TV fangirl bit in there. So like we finally, like John is finally there, like he's at the house, like he's finally gonna meet up with Rosalind. She comes out though, oh my God, I was just like, I thought the promo was like exaggerating. I don't know why, but she's literally like decked out in this silver like sequined gown as if it's like some sort of party, celebration, dare I say, this weird like bizarro date scenario that she like has in her head. Like it's so weird.
She's literally so insane and sick and twisted. Like there's just so many words that I can use to describe her.
Like, I mean, because he goes in, I mean, like she's like, oh, I'm renting this house. And he like goes in there and there's like a table set up. There's like, candlelight, there's food there, and then, but the kicker is on the TV monitor. That's where I can see Bailey again. So like John, like seeing that, John is like, okay, like I'm here, you can let her go now. But she's not even like trying to listen to like his negotiations. She's just like, no, you're gonna put on the suit. And so he originally he was like no, and then that's when she threatens to make Bailey suffer some more if he like doesn't listen. So he finally does put on the suit, and so we see him like come back out, and like the whole like point of this meeting is so like John can be the one to murder Rosalind in order to save Bailey, which like the promo like told us that. But still, I was just like, the fact that she like had a gun like under the table or whatever and just like gave it to him, I was like, ma'am, like what?
Well, even like when she met him, like she had a gun in one hand, pointed at him, and then like a glass of champagne or whatever. I'm like, seriously,
yeah,
this
I
woman
forgot about
like
the champagne. Yeah,
is nuts.
Yeah, and
I feel like it's also ironic in a way, but I can't describe how yet. So
okay.
I'm just still processing the fact that like she was dressed up, hair was curled, all of that, had like a gun just casually holding that, and then like casually holding a glass of champagne or whatever it was, and was just like, welcome to a rental house where you're going to kill me and let my body like decompose here. Great. Like what?
It's just, I mean, I was just glad though that she like actually, well, maybe she has admitted to being a psychopath before, but it was nice to like actually hear her like admit to her psychopathy. like
And
while
she
John
was
was driving.
and she was like proud of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right,
Oh
you
yeah, no,
are
she's so proud of
truly sick. Like
it.
truly.
Yeah. And just, I mean, so like we've said, obviously it's this weird obsession that she has with Nolan. Like, I don't know, like just the way she was talking to him, it's like she enjoys like breaking down his morale, like bit by bit. And like she's like, she even said like she's, like fascinated with him. And I'm like, ew, like just ew. Like that's just, it's so weird. It's so weird to me. Um, and then of course, like intermittently dispersed, like is, we're still seeing like what is happening to Bailey. She's still trapped in the death tank. And like Jennifer said, like they're working on cutting the power, but it's like they have to do it. It's like so meticulous. Like they have to do it like as soon as the power is cut in that like same second. Essentially Bailey's supposed to dive down into the water like as far as she can go, because that's when the chemicals are gonna like come out and like be released onto the surface and then like drop down a little bit, like kind of like attacking the water, therefore killing her. At least that's the goal. um but thankfully they did do the timing, I guess, even though I still think that's kind of a waste of energy, like for Bailey to have timed herself, like 4 or 5 times to see how long it would, how long she can hold her breath. But this is the final time to do it, because as soon as they cut the power, then she has to go down until they get the grate off. Because like even though they have the grate off, they still can't like do anything until that like chemical reaction, I guess, is like stopped. um and so Bailey's down in the water, she's holding her breath, and like while all this is going on, like John's like watching this happen. So like the I mean there's no like, at least I'm assuming he's not looking at an actual clock or anything, but it's just like he knows that um things are like things are winding down, like she doesn't have a lot of time. um and this whole time, like he's still holding the gun, like pointing the gun at Rosalind, but still hasn't shot it. um and then like, I mean, it was good. Like Nathan did like a fantastic job in like portraying the like sadness on John's face, because like you see that, then it like cuts back to well, it was like went to John, to Rosalind, then back to John, then to Bailey. Like it kind of bounced around a bit. um but I did like how at one point, I think it was like I don't know how to explain it, like it went like from the TV, like the monitor, like right into the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like you were right there.
I know I wanted to tweet that out last night, but I was like, I don't know how to best explain it in
Yeah.
180 characters or whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But I thought it was really cool how like we almost like went into the TV to like get, yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously like we see Bailey, like you can kind of tell like obviously there's no more like any sign of like bubbles or anything. So like she's, not like holding her breath anymore. She's out of breath essentially. And poor Tim, my God, the man is like trying to break down the side of that tank like with all his might, and like he can't get it. Like I'm assuming he thought that like if he did like break it down, then like the water would come out, and then obviously you could get to Bailey faster if they needed that to happen. But still, just like it's like you got Tim doing that. Like we've seen Selena are still like, trying to like see what they can do. And like there's still people like surrounding them, except I mean John can like he can't really see any of that though, because like the sparks like turned into flames, or like made it seem like it was like fire was like all over the screen, like you just saw orange and red and yellow. And just, I don't know, because like my whole thing is like, I still don't know why John couldn't have like shot Rosalind like maybe only once, because like the whole thing was like, he was like, well, how will I know, that like you'll let Bailey out like once this is done? Because obviously she'd be dead if he shot her. She was like, oh well, Jeffrey's gonna, has the thing to unlock the tank. And so it's like, why couldn't he have just shot her like once, then she would fall, and then maybe like Jeffrey would think that she's dead. Like, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah. I also feel like Jeffrey wouldn't have unlocked the tank. Like, if he's Rosalind's acolyte, like he would be like, no, let me torture you more.
that's true.
But
Yeah, because in the promo we see him like look into like some kind of like lens or something that's like seeing into the tank that he's trapped somebody else in.
yeah.
So maybe not. Yeah, that's true. But Nolan is who he is. And so of course he's not gonna like, he can't bring himself to do it. And like that just made me think of how like he wasn't even the one to like kill Caleb like in 211. Like that was Nyla with the long gun.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really realize until I was like just thinking about it earlier. So it was just, I don't know, because like, has he killed anyone else aside from like the um shoot, what's the episode, 108? Like when he did kill that guy?
I don't think so.
Because I know he like shot at Armstrong, but he didn't actually, obviously didn't uh kill him.
We haven't seen the rookie characters like kill a lot of people and like be affected by it.
Yeah.
I think it was just that one, honestly.
Yeah. Like I don't know. They've gotten into a lot of like fights or like,
but it's not
have
like
unfortunately died, but they haven't really killed. Well, no, you know what though? Didn't he shoot? Oh no, never mind. That was Zoe. Never mind.
But it's not like Angela like held a gun to LaFierre's head or anything. Like it's not like they were. Yeah, no. So
yeah, so it's just, I mean, it's just interesting. Obviously, John, has this morale that like can't, that can't be broken, and so it's like he knows that he couldn't do it, but like he's like still watching like helplessly because he thinks like Bailey's dying, and like is lowering the gun as this is happening. And so like what he doesn't know though is that they have managed to get Bailey out. Well, Selena dove in, which I thought was cool because like I wasn't expecting her to be the one, because like I saw her like, well, they were all kind of like somewhat crouching, and then she like stood up and like took her belt off, and I was like, well, what the heck is she doing? And then so she was like preparing to like dive into the tank.
Yeah.
And so she helped pull Bailey up to the surface, and Lucy was the one to perform CPR, which a lot of people, I wish I had realized it, but paralleled that to 211 as well. Like with Tim performing CPR on Lucy, and then Lucy doing the same for Bailey.
I also love though that it was Selena who dove into the tank, like because we see Selena and John working together, so you have to assume that like she knows quite a bit about Bailey.
Yeah.
So it was just nice to see that. And then also like Selena, I mean, it's hard to say timeline, but like technically this is like her third shift that we've seen, really. Like so it was good to kind of see her like take charge in a way.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes back to what she was saying, like how you had mentioned earlier about the astrology, like what, is traumatic for John is like traumatic for her. So like I feel like she just like felt it like deep in her like soul or something, and just like was compelled to just like take action.
Right. Well, and like even when John had got the call about Bailey and she was like, I think it's Rosalind or whatever, and because it was on speaker. And I mean, even Selena looked over like, who is Rosalind? Like, I wonder how much her and Aaron know about Rosalind. Like, do they get briefed on her, or did they just kind of like find out like from like shorthand. I mean, especially because Selena is still so new, you know. I mean, I don't know. I tweeted that out last night. It was like, I wonder how much they actually know and like how in depth they know. So
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting. I want to say, I think Emily tweeted that like this was like the first time we got to actually like see Rosalind's like plans like come to fruition, like just her, like it wasn't, you know, she wasn't inspiring anyone to do crazy things. It was like literally just her. I mean, we saw like obviously she's capable of like hurting people, like harming people, but not like, you know, this like psychological twist on it.
So the plans in the warehouse or whatever that, you know, Angela and Nyla and all of them had seen, that was her plans, or was that Jeffrey's plans? Because I was thinking it was Jeffrey's.
I think those were Jeffrey's.
Maybe they like worked together on it, but
yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think like she just like I had said, like picked him out and was like, hey, you're gonna do this. And then like I don't know. I need a little bit more of like how, I mean, because I guess like didn't he have a record or like, or no, did he? Oh gosh, I can't remember.
No, but he had experience.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I don't know. Just how does she find these people? I don't
Oh my
know.
God. Her search history has to be like the freaky, like creepiest thing ever.
Oh God.
Because not even like to find him, but also to like find out how to like make explosives and, you know, how to like cut power lines and all that. Like her search history is wild. I'm sure.
How to make sure a water line stays buried. Like I don't know. Like just
like
yeah. But anyway, so like Bailey's like successfully waking up. They really got me though, because they were playing like the sad music. Like everyone knows what I'm talking about. Like they used it for Zoe, they used it for Jackson. Like I seriously thought Bailey wasn't going to make it.
Same, especially because we hadn't seen her on set in a while, and I was like, you guys, this isn't looking good. I mean, even though she's a series regular, we've seen stuff happen. So
turns out Jenna was just filming a Lifetime movie, which I believe is already aired by now, I think, or is going to fairly soon, later this month. But still, I was just saying, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, because that would just like, I mean, like you had said, I think you said it earlier, like you didn't want Simone to have a lot of love interest. Like John, you know, John's had a lot of love interest too, but it's like he finally like had, you know, something last more than just one season. And so it's like that would just like really break him to have Bailey be like taken away. But thankfully that is not the case. Although poor John like thinks that like it is still, because he hasn't seen anyone yet, because he's still like busy taking Rosalind out of the house and like bringing her out, you know, radioing that he has, you know, one in custody. And then as he's doing that, like seemingly out of nowhere, a bullet just like hits Rosalind straight in the head. Like she goes down. And like it just obviously it's like killed her instantly. And she like laid there on the steps still, like her eyes were still open. Why didn't anyone close them, for God's sake?
Honestly, my friend Holly was texting me about this before like we started recording, because she watches the episodes a day later, and she's like, why are we killing people with and leaving their eyes open? Like it is traumatic and it's gross. Like we don't need it. And I was like, exactly. Like why? It's just no. I don't like it. And then they just kept zooming in and like leaving the camera on her. And I was like, okay, is this like meaning something, or is it just like to like dig in the fact that she's dead? Like, I don't know. But
I mean, it is like a camera technique in like filming for like movies and stuff. I'm assuming for TV to like make the viewer uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just like get that point across. But still, oh my God. I was just like, hey, we've already seen like enough. Like, oh my God. I was just like, nope. Because I was seriously like wondering if she was just gonna somehow like,
Life.
yeah, like seriously.
Like scare you. She would give you a jump scare. Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Because I was like, okay. I was like, nope, she's still okay. Okay, she's still down for the
Yeah.
count. Um,
Yeah, it was.
and then like Nolan's sitting like right next to her body though. I'm like, dude, why aren't you like up and away a little bit more?
I would literally be like 10 feet away from her. Like she's dead. She's not gonna get up and like walk away. You don't
Yeah.
need to sit by her. But
Yeah.
also, like, I don't know. I mean, we see, and you'll get to it. Like, I don't know. I would just like to know how she would have felt and what she would have done, like seeing Bailey in the flesh and Lucy again. Like, I don't know. I feel like we were kind of robbed of
Yeah.
all that. But
Yeah. And so obviously since like John like radioed everything in, like people are coming, like everyone's coming, you know, because everyone's probably like, okay, like you finally got Rosalind in custody. Okay, good. And then like they just come and it's this scene in front of them. And but you know, we get like a happy, you know, Balin moment because obviously Bailey's okay. So she's like running up.
I like how it's like blurry too. And then
Yeah.
he like, you know, his eyes shifted into focus and yeah.
Yep, and there comes Bailey. So they, you know, had their reunion and that was good. And it didn't, I mean, I was glad though that they did have like Lucy be the one to be like, it doesn't seem like it's real, like Rosalind being dead.
Yeah.
So I was like, same. Because it really didn't. And so I liked that they had like the camera panned to her and then unfortunately panned back onto Rosalind for a bit too long and then back to Lucy. So I guess we had that moment, but still, I just, yeah, there could have been a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it kind of felt like anticlimactic. I was like, really? We've had, you know, basically 2 seasons kind of with her, or at least like a season and a half. And she's killed, but it's not even by like anyone in the LAPD. Like it's by some random sniper. And it's like after so much buildup, like I don't know, it just felt anticlimactic. Not that I would want Lucy or John to kill her, but at least have some other kind of closure.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if they were to put her in jail again, like she could escape. And
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just because like I just want to know. I mean, I'm hopefully they're gonna like reveal that, like you know, who killed her in part 2.
Because if it was the acolyte, right?
Yeah,
and like
if it was Jeffrey.
If it was him, why would he kill her? Like I don't know. I guess to like maybe I don't know.
So he could have like all the glory. Like that doesn't really track though either, because Rosalind was the glory hog.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. And like the episode description for 104 Feds.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I first heard that it was going to be a crossover, I was like, episode 4, like this episode description doesn't seem like it's going to be a crossover. So it'll be interesting to see how Feds handles it, like picks it up, because we saw them coming in, and then even like in the sneak peek that was released today, it looks like it's right where the rookie picks up from. So who knows?
Yeah, because they're still like, well, Brendan and Laura anyway, since they were the 2 that we saw on the rookie, they're in the same clothes, so that like continuity is good.
Well, and they're like walking into the like gate and everything too. So
yeah. But I mean, so yeah, that was, I mean, it was a damn good episode. And like for the on the 4-year anniversary of the rookie premiering, which was cool. Which I didn't really think about. I think Emily also pointed that out.
I feel like it was fitting that it was centered around like a villain character too.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have some good villains that we're not supposed to like, but we end up getting like very intrigued by them. So
yeah. Well, yeah, Annie Wersching did like just such a good job, and yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. It was just, I mean, like I said, obviously I was like worried about, characters, but it was just like the pacing was great, like the action,
Mhm.
it kept building.
Yeah. And everyone was involved too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Except for Wesley. We didn't see Wesley.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm okay without that, I
Yeah.
think.
And then who's gonna tell Chris too that
I don't know.
Rosalind's dead? Like, is Lucy gonna have to do that?
Please, because I think the dude is like spinning out. So,
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I mean,
So
can
those are
Tim
those
tell
are my
him?
two questions.
Can Tim tell him? I don't know
Because
why
like
I would want that, but I would.
I don't know how like Lucy would be. I mean, she could do it. I mean, that would just create an even unless it brings Chris closure, but I
Yeah.
don't know because like he wasn't, like a part of the
Yeah.
that like this episode, like this arc
Yeah.
of Rosalind's demise. I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, I guess those are my last thoughts on that.
Yeah, so we do have some listener thoughts. So Kim had said, I'd love to hear what you guys think the fallout for Nolan and Bailey will be because of Nolan not killing Rosalind. Will his decision haunt him? What was his decision true to character? I mean, yeah, I think like you had said, I think his decision was true to character. Like he wouldn't kill her. He was the moral compass. And I think he would want her to like get what is coming for her.
Yeah.
And I think the fallout for Nolan and Bailey, I mean, it's hard to say, but like the episode description that we read off earlier, like kind of, unless it maybe is like a job proposal,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Well, because
something.
like,
It's marriage or job,
yeah.
one of them.
Well, because like he even like said, like, I'm sorry I, couldn't do it to like save you. And Bailey was like, that's okay, you saved yourself. So it's
Yeah.
like I feel like she understands.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
feel
still,
like
I don't know.
it'll be fine between
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There were
feel
just
like
like
they're not
little
going to get into drama.
moments of
Yeah.
like comedic timing that I enjoyed for them though, too. Cause like Nolan just up and disappeared and Bailey's
Yeah.
like, really?
Really? Yeah.
Like, and so I feel like if their relationship can like survive all the things that it already has, it's like I don't really think they can,
Yeah.
like be broken up.
I mean, they've had her ex come back,
Yeah.
who was in jail. Yeah. Like I think they'll be fine. But
Yeah.
what do I know? So
Yeah.
do you want to take the next listener thought?
Yeah. So Ricarda said, after seeing the episode, I'm confused about two things. Why Rosalind tried to quote unquote kill Chris a few episodes ago when her obsession is Nolan, and then why Bailey wasted so much energy while she tested several times how long she can hold her breath. Yeah. I mean, the second one I can't answer because I too think it was a little bit of a waste of energy and
I think
time.
so, but I also think one, she was just trying to keep herself occupied, and two, she's a firefighter. So like even though their masks have like oxygen, I feel like they at some point have to like hold their breath or like
Mm-hmm.
they're in LA. So I wonder if like she's part of the dive team too or something to where like if they need to go under the water, like she's one of them. So I don't know.
Oh,
I feel like
maybe.
she was probably just practicing, but even then she's
Yeah.
probably used to it or something. So I don't know. The first one though, it doesn't really make any sense except for like if you think Rosalind was just like pissed that Lucy didn't go and testify and she was just
Yeah.
trying to get back. But like again, why Chris?
Yeah.
Like she could have went after Tamara. Not that I wanted that, but like she could have.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't really make any sense for it to be Chris. But I also think like that was just another way for her to like show everyone that she's still out there and like
Yeah.
she's like wanting to come back with a vengeance. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
I guess like since Chris was a lawyer and like part of the like trial prep, maybe she kind of was like, oh, okay, I can,
right.
magically stop this trial from
Well,
happening.
And like people were saying, well, maybe she was like wanting to go after Tim and like she just had to go after Chris. But like she knew that Chris would be at that courthouse or whatever. And like,
Yeah.
so I mean, I don't know. I feel like all along her plan was Chris, but
Yeah. I don't really know about the Tim thing. I feel like that whole thing of like the outfit is just like unfortunately pure coincidence
yeah.
or an oddly timed style decision.
But even then, people were like paralleling it to like Rachel and Grace, and they were like the blue like jean jacket with the orange dress is just like a staple in the Rookie universe.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, it could just be like an easy wardrobe outfit for them or something. Like, yeah. So
I mean that, TV shows often like reuse things.
yeah, we
Although
saw that.
it is a little bizarre.
Yeah, we saw that with the one Chicago shows. Like Stella was
Mhm.
wearing the same shirt that Haley was wearing, like back to back
Mhm.
episodes. So
Yep.
kind of odd, but
Yeah. Um, yeah, and then Ricardo also said Chenford delivered again with meaningful looks. It's time for them to finally have a deep conversation about their feelings for each other. Yes, the looks were good, and yeah, they did well. They need to talk about a lot of things,
yeah,
like a lot of things.
yeah.
But yeah, their feelings would be a good place to start.
But also, like, I'm here for the angst. I know that a lot of people aren't, but like, I don't know, I am.
Oh
Give me
yeah, I'm
all the
so here
looks.
for it.
Yeah.
So here for it.
So Valerie had said, I thought it was an exciting episode. I'm fine with Rosalind targeting John. She punished Lucy by going after Chris, and now she's doing the same thing with him. She said, I thought the ending was anticlimactic. I don't think John would have shot her. He's already killed someone, so we know he can do it. He'd be protecting someone that's not unjustified. If she had told him to kill an innocent stranger, I could see real conflict there. I agree. The ending was anticlimactic. Like, we'd worked and built all of this up for her to get killed. And not that I didn't want that, but like,
Yeah.
just she couldn't have gotten killed by someone that we know and that like has had interactions with her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, not that I would want that, but that would also set up for good storyline in the season of like them dealing with that, like them dealing with the aftermath of that. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it maybe would have been a different story if they had like, if like that final part would have been like the very, very end of the episode, and then it would have, the camera would have like panned over to wherever this person was and then like actually showed who it was and then fade to black and be done. But yeah, I don't know that because like yeah, I don't, it's just a whole thing. And I'm sure that's the point, is just to make us, think and talk about the episode and stuff.
And that's exactly what we're doing. So
yep, dedicating a whole podcast to it. So
yep.
There you go. So Mindy had said it was a good episode. Bailey was great in the episode, and I loved the scenes with her and Selena and Lucy. Yeah, that was so good. All the girl power.
Yes.
She also enjoyed the team up of Angela, Nyla, Aaron, Laura, and Brendan. Goodness, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mindy said, I think Nolan made the right choice for himself. I don't think he'd have been able to live with himself if he had killed Rosalind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean he does think about things like, the aftermath of things. So
yeah, I was gonna say again, that would set up for a good storyline, but I also don't think that we're done with seeing this because they could still show like Nolan's like not trauma, but just like kind of guilt or something after.
Yeah. Or just like meant like another mention of it or something, how they did with like they mentioned Anderson a couple times, and they've continued to mention her even in last season. So it's like maybe in that way. I don't know. And lastly, Mindy said, hopefully Lucy will have some closure now, and hopefully someone gave her a big hug. Maybe she had a movie marathon with Tamara. Oh, yeah.
They
I'd
watch
like
all
to
the
think so.
rom-coms.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, yes.
yeah. All the self-care things for Lucy
Yeah.
Chen right now. So
And
yes.
Bailey, honestly, but yes.
Oh God, yes. The the woman deserves an award and like just to be completely just get anything that she could ever want in the whole world because she just survived a literal death trap.
Well, even like Jenna had posted, like she was facing two of her biggest fears, like filming this episode. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
kudos to her.
Yeah.
Blessed Turtle had said, loved the Joker and Batman style dynamic Rosalind had with Nolan. I wonder if his decision not to kill her is gonna haunt him in any way. That's like a running theme. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
like wow.
know.
Jeez, yeah, I wish we knew. I mean, I could I could say something because apparently I have some magical manifestation powers. I'm totally kidding. I really don't. But just like the only thing I could see is if they did like a flashback, but like I mean, they don't often do flashbacks.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I mean, I see it like kind of haunting him, quote unquote, in a way, like just because one, he's the main character of the show, or like one of like, the most important characters or whatever.
mm,
But I also think again it would just set up for a good storyline and they would continue this until at least the mid-season finale. So
mhm,
yeah.
yeah.
They also said that Bailey was a straight up champ in that tank. Every scene with her was intense and I loved it. The 211 parallel with Lucy being the one who saved her life with the CPR was also pretty nice to see. And honestly, I prefer Lucy getting her closure with Rosalind this way. Denying her that kill was so much more satisfying to me than if Lucy was the one to go after Rosalind. I know that's an unpopular opinion in this fandom.
Hmm.
Yeah, because people were like, well, Nolan like had nothing to do with Lucy, or Nolan had nothing to do with Rosalind. Like Lucy
Mhm.
should be going after her.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't see it that way though. Like,
Well, yeah, because it's like I don't. I mean, not that. I mean, because all of them obviously are trained to like, if they have to kill someone,
yeah,
like to save themselves, then sure. But it's like it. It wouldn't make well. It wouldn't make sense for Lucy to do it because Lucy, while she cares for Bailey, obviously is like a friend and a person. It's like
yeah,
obviously there's not a romantic and entanglement um between those two characters. So it just I don't know. And Lucy's just so she's
yeah.
Lucy. Like she's not a
I don't want her to hurt anyone.
yeah, she's not like a
Even,
hardened, like
yeah,
super jaded, you know, excuse my language, but like fuck everything and everyone kind of
yeah.
person.
I mean, even though it is Rosalind, like I don't want
Yeah.
her to hurt anyone. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Blessed Turtle said they loved Lopez and Harper. They were awesome as usual. They said loved the shop talk scene. Everyone had, and I'm assuming that it was Tim's shop. More scenes like that in the future, please and thank you. I mean, listen, I'm here for that. And like, if
Yeah.
the rookie wants to do that more, by all means, and
Yeah.
call it shop talk,
Yeah.
perfect.
I just thought
Perfect.
it was so fun because you could actually like see like they just went back and forth. I'm sure there's a lot of camera work. So like
Yeah,
shout out to the camera people and
yeah.
the crew because you could like see it like through the
We're like the
great that's not the
yeah.
right thing, but like the what I mean, the blockade.
Mhm. Well, even like when they were focusing on Angela, it was like the camera was like outside of the car or like
Mhm.
attached to the door. Like there was just a lot of camera work. They showed it like from everyone's different like point of view. It was just really good to see.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so and I liked seeing more than one person in the shop or more
Mhm.
than two people in the shop. It was fun.
Yeah.
Um and then they said, and finally, this didn't really feel like a crossover. Aside from Brendan and Laura showing up briefly, it just felt like it was a regular rookie episode. Hopefully, they're saving all the interagency collaboration like we saw in the backdoor pilot last season for the Feds episode. also the Accolade should have died first, and then Rosalind and Feds to finish her storyline. Okay. I wouldn't have wanted them to end Rosalind's storyline though in Feds, because we've seen her in the Rookie, so it only
that's true.
wouldn't make sense for her to be like
yeah
demised in the Rookie. I don't know.
Well, see, we would have been able to solve this problem if Feds had been on Sunday before the Rookie. Just saying.
I swear we're not bitter about this, but like we kind of are. So
just a little bit. I just don't understand it.
Like, I can see like the shows being on separate nights, but like it's a crossover. I would think they would want that to be on the same night. But like, hey, I mean, ABC, the Rookie, like you do what you do. Like you do you, boo. Yeah.
I mean, that calendar with the glaring hole on Monday, like it was empty. That got me because it was just like circle around Sunday, circle around Tuesday. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Like we've got nothing to do on Monday apparently. So and then like the Blessed Turtles thing about this didn't really feel like a crossover. I agree. Like it did in a way, but not really.
Yeah. Because I thought like Feds was gonna show up like with them at the end or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they just kind of Gray was just like, and here's the Feds. Like that was it. We didn't even really see them like walk up that much.
Yeah, like I wanted to see them like walk walk up, like have a conversation or something. Like I don't know, just something.
I mean, we had the backdoor pilot, and I guess you can kind of count that as a crossover, but this was like the first true crossover. So I'm wondering if they were just like finding their footing. I mean, I'll be honest, like at first I was like, how are they gonna cross over and bring in Rosalind and like make it make sense? Like, I don't know, but I mean, it worked. It's just we have to see it finish out, and I wonder how much of the Rookie cast is going to then cross over to the Rookie or to Feds. Like I feel like this is kind of like early crossovers for One Chicago, where it was like you saw like one person and they called it a crossover. Yeah but I don't know, maybe they were just finding their footing. So I
don't know, because it's like everyone's gonna be like, Kari saying this, oh my god. Not that I didn't like Brendan being like paired with Laura and being the one to like cross over or whatever, but like my brain was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be like Laura and Garza again because they were on, you know, doing the profile the last time. So I was just like, why? Like I said, I was so here for, you know, Brensen, as we, you know, as people call them, being like the two to like do that, because I remember seeing Kevin's Instagram post and I was like, oh my god, you know, they're both going on, you know, the Rookie tonight. But still I kind of thought it would be like just Laura and Matt.
But we don't see Matt, like he goes into situations but not as like often though.
He's like Gray, not out in the field quite as much anymore.
I was kind of thinking that we would see Simone. I don't know, I just figured that they would bring like the two main characters of like their shows, but it was probably just a scheduling thing, you know, like
maybe
Niecy and James had to like film one day and they couldn't go over to the Rookie, but who knows. So
so Laura said, I thought it was great. This season seems so much darker so far. I was on the edge of my seat, really looking forward to part 2 in Feds to see how that goes. I saw someone else say that on Twitter too, that it was like it's taken like a darker turn and they don't like mind it, and I'm like,
I don't either. It just seems like it's been graphic lately. Like we saw that in Feds and in the Rookie, and I'm like, there's a way to go about it without it being like so graphic. I don't know.
That's true.
So Bonnie had said, I wish the writers would be more realistic. Someone sniped Rosalind and no one didn't take cover. Literally though, he just like stood there.
I didn't even notice that.
Watching Rosalind.
I was, because she like dramatically, I mean, obviously if someone's gonna be like, you know, gonna be impactful, I'm assuming But it just like, and then like Nolan's like so focused on like almost like trying to catch her or whatever. I'm like, sir, she is already like
She's gone.
presumably dead. Like,
Yeah.
just let her go.
Like, you take cover.
Yeah, like literally and figuratively. Like, let her go and
Yeah.
take cover.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. But also, like, the sniper was really like meticulous because he, I mean, didn't even like touch Nolan. So
Yeah.
Bonnie had said, great, Tim and Lucy were all out in the open staring when there was a sniper too. Yeah. I mean, literally no one like took cover. No one really had vests on, nothing. Like, I mean, I guess it is safe to assume that the sniper was just targeting Rosalind. But again, like, who was the sniper? Because if it was her acolyte Jeffrey, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, unless he just had a vendetta out for her in the beginning, or she planned it. Like, who knows? So, yeah. And then Bonnie had said, I don't know why, or I don't get why Rosalind even went after Chris if her obsession was Nolan. No one out of, oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just like she just saw an opportunity. She's literally out to traumatize everyone, pretty much. Yeah. And then Bonnie had said, no one out of the dozens of firefighters and cops noticed Nolan walking off the scene. I legit thought the same thing on my second watch.
I was just like, how did Noah? Because there was like when he was on the phone and he was walking away, like before he went to the trash cans or whatever, there was literally like you could see in the background like another officer like walking in the same direction. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, they're gonna be like wondering why the heck he's on the phone and not paying any attention. No, I'm like, really?
Well, and he wasn't saying anything either, really, on the phone until like he got far enough away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would be like a I don't know, cue for me or something. But even like you saw the firefighters and like other cops like in the background, like kind of blurred. And it's like, you know that when you like walk somewhere, like you look around to see what's going on. Like, how did no one think like, why is he over there at the trash can? Why is he taking off his duty belt and all that? Like, it just made literally no sense. Bonnie had said this episode was too far-fetched for me. It seemed like something was meant to air later on in the season, but they pulled it up. I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem like too early for me. It seemed more fitting because they had the Rosalind stuff in one of the first few episodes, first one, kind of leading into the second one. So, I mean, they just got to wrap it up. And then she said Chenford was Chef's Kiss tonight, and Jenna as Bailey was definitely a highlight. Yeah, same.
Yep, she rocked it for sure. So, oh, that's one. I didn't realize you put Brenna's thought in there. So our friend Brenna said, oh, it's a question, sorry. Am I the only one who hated the fact that last night's episode was all about Nolan? Like,
it was her hot take from this morning.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay. This is what I get for scrolling through text messages too fast. So sorry. You said like I get that Rosalind had some sort of obsession with him, and I definitely didn't need Lucy to relive all her trauma, but I don't know. I feel like it would have worked a lot better if it was centered more around her and less around Nolan. I mean, just like a little bit more. Like for Lucy.
My argument, like I told Brenna this morning, because she, I don't know, she like recaps shows too. So like she looks at it with like a different view too. And I don't know, for me, like Lucy, yes, she dealt with Rosalind in a way with Caleb, but like Rosalind wasn't the one who kidnapped her. Like that was Caleb, and Caleb was Rosalind's protege. So like she has trauma with Rosalind, but it's not directly like tied to Rosalind, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of in relation. So I don't know, it makes sense, but like Rosalind's always had an obsession with Nolan, like since day one. So
yeah.
Which I don't really know why, but whatever. I guess because she thinks that like he's easy to trick or whatever, but yeah.
She also said, I did like the Chenford moment and the ending was intense. And the fact that it was Lucy of all people to ultimately save Bailey, like Tim saved her. Yeah, I wish I had like realized that sooner. I didn't like think of it as a parallel to that, but yeah. Yeah. Um, she'll be curious to see how much crossover there is in Feds this week, because as much as I loved Laura and Brendan coming over to the Rookie, I expected more crossover. Yeah. I feel like that's maybe like the one Chicago curse. Like
Yeah.
we expect so much from crossovers.
The last few One Chicago crossovers have been better though, about like including people, but even then they still leave out people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the Rookie universe having a crossover. I don't even care how small, because we haven't had any in One Chicago in like 3 years. So
right. I mean, I'll take any kind of crossover. And like the Rookie is a smaller show in terms of like cast,
yeah.
kind of, and like even with the Rookie Fed. So I'll take it. But
yeah, I can see both sides of that.
yeah. And then Janine had said Bailey was awesome in this episode. I enjoyed seeing Jenna like this, besides the other things about her kicking butt and fighting. Oh, like about her other jobs. Yeah.
Or like her other skill sets.
Yeah. I mean, she still threw in the diving, but yeah. Janine said, I felt for John in this episode, and I like how he was smart enough to take them to the shop to talk. There was a lot of talk about when Lucy entered after Angela and Nyla and that quote unquote nasty looks. Yeah, after the like preview was shown. But I think they were just concerned. I think Tim did have a semi eye roll, but it wasn't to be mean. I think it was just in a way of thinking like, damn, Lucy shouldn't have to go through this again. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think anyone's like mean to Lucy. Like,
no.
Yeah.
I just think it was just, she literally like like anyone that actually knows me, like that interacts with me on a daily basis, I do this a lot where I come in at the tail end of conversations and say things like that people have literally just said, like my sister could like tell you, she probably has a list. Like, so I do this all too often. And so like, but I don't know why they had to like write that for Lucy. Like it did, because it's like, obviously people are going to look at each other and have that silent communication of like, yes, that is what we already talked about, but it's like, I didn't really see it as mean.
Yeah. So I get them having Lucy come in and say all that, right? Because she's processing it. She's went through this. But at that point, I was kind of like, okay, we've already like rehashed it, because even Angela and Nyla coming in, like they were, saying like, oh yeah, well, we know this is what's happening. And then like when Lucy came in too, I mean, I loved Lucy coming in and like joining the team, but I was just like, we've already rehashed it. Like, can we just kind of like move on? I mean, Lucy didn't necessarily have like a new part to add. She was just kind of like re-explaining everything that they had said. So,
which like, I don't know, it just doesn't really jive with like how she usually is, like I just don't get like, why write her like that? Like, why not have her come in first? I mean, I guess since she was the one who was staying with Bailey while they all went out. Yeah, I don't know, I just don't like it, like for Lucy.
Yeah. Janine also said, I'm impressed with Nolan. He's grown so much as a cop. The clues he gave the others while still having his morals and not shooting Rosalind was nice. I really want to know what Nolan was thinking, if Bailey was really dead, or did he have faith in the rest of the team that they were getting her out? I don't know.
I think he thought that she was dead, because he looked so like
like distraught,
almost haunted in a way, like when he was sitting on that step.
So no, because I was thinking about that last night when I was live tweeting. I was like, okay, is he just thinking like that she's not dead and he's just like portraying those emotions to Rosalind? But then I was like, no, he definitely thinks that, because like you said, like even sitting on the steps, like he was, because I mean, even when Bailey had said his name, he kind of looked up and was like, wait, what? So no, I definitely think he thought she was done.
Because like, I don't really think it wasn't like so much he didn't have faith that like they, like the rest of his team couldn't get her out, but it was just like he was blaming himself for not doing what Rosalind asked of him in order to save Bailey. Right. So he thought that, oh, I have inadvertently caused her death.
Well, and like he could have had faith in the team that they would get her out, but like he also knows what Rosalind is capable of. And like, you know, I mean, he was there when they were uncovering the bodies on that walk. Like he knows what she's capable of. And even if they were able to get Bailey out of the tank, like they might not have been able to resuscitate her. So, you know, I mean, it was just, I think that he thought she was dead for sure.
Yeah.
So, and then Janine said, and Rosalind really wanting to die. I find that so hard to imagine. Now I'm just questioning her accomplice. Is it still Jeffrey? Because when they were checking out the warehouse, he was there. So who was on the other side of the computer who shot her? My thoughts are still saying Chris is involved or Del Monte. People are still like going hard with Del Monte or Chris. And I just don't know. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I can't see it. And if I'm wrong about Jeffrey, I will like be so disappointed in myself just because I'm like so here for Thomas Dekker getting to play like an evil character.
I mean, okay, so we know that Jeffrey helped her build it, but like we don't know if that's the guy who shot her. So I guess it very well could be like Del Monte or something, but I don't know. I just like I find it hard to believe that it's Chris. I don't know why. I just do. After everything that man has went through, I don't know. I don't think he would be like, oh yeah, let me just like go work with Rosalind. But yeah.
And I don't know. I just want a little bit more of like, you know, to have like some answers in part 2. So
I will say it would make sense and it would feel so much more satisfying, I think, if it was someone that we already knew that was like the one that shot her versus just like some random Joe Schmo that she ended up like working with. Janine said, I'm loving Angela and Nyla teaming up, and I loved that they teamed up with Brensen. Same. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you call it? It was 5 people, like all of them together.
I mean, it's a trapezoid in mathematical terms, but that's not. Well, you can't say it's not like a love trapezoid because none of those people are like together.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's about to get real silly.
Sorry, that was so bizarre. I don't even know.
Because we're gonna get into rookie feds, and like, I mean, if it's anything like last week, it's just gonna be all over the place. So but to finish up Janine's thought, she said, I'm impressed with Selena. She had no hesitation in staying with Bailey and jumping in the tank. Same. I think it was a great way to like show herself, like on one of her first few shifts or whatever. Janine had said, my heart went out to Lucy in this episode. I feel like she's trying so hard to be strong and such a good cop that she's not letting her feelings show, but I think she needs to do that now, especially with Rosalind dead. The fact that she didn't want to leave Bailey alone because she herself was alone in that barrel was amazing. Also, her and Tim working together and their eye contact through the whole episode. And when he lowered himself into the basement, telling her that she wasn't going to go because it could be dangerous, and if everything was okay, she could follow. Yeah, I mean, that was like the little Chenford moment that we needed. She liked how Lucy was the only one to give Bailey CPR, and she needed closure in one aspect of the whole like Rosalind saga. She needed to control some aspect of this, and she no longer gets the satisfaction in putting Rosalind back in jail. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can see how it's closure. I think it also just like made her feel better and like helped her kind of help a little bit more in the scene or like in the case, if that makes sense, like giving her CPR. So yeah, that is it for the rookie. It was a wild episode. And we won't talk about part 2 of the crossover until next week. So
that'll be weird.
Yeah. It's already weird to talk about feds like 1 week later. But I mean, it works. So yeah. And it is nice to like have feds like kind of more to the middle of the week. So it's not like we're like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like deserted with the rookie content. Like, because as soon as the rookie ends, we get the preview for feds on Tuesday. Like, I mean, and then it's, Friday, and then we get the preview for the rookie. So there's just always content.
Yeah, it's like they have so much content, we hardly have to post anything anymore because there's always content.
Yeah. So now we'll talk about the rookie feds because so we're talking about episode 3 of season 1 titled Starcross. And this one was another graphic episode at the end, more so. But the kidnapping case, like Simone, Garza, and Brendan are going over to the suspect in question, Tobias Kazan, and like they're talking about a birthday party that he's throwing for his daughter. They've got a warrant on his restaurant, and they're going to install surveillance equipment. And so they look at like his crime tree and his family tree, and they share a lot of the same ties. And like, what better place to talk shop than at a family gathering? Reverse of our name. So that was fun. Because we had that and the rookie, like no personal talk in the shop or whatever, in the same week. So, and they're going to meet with Agent Bob Telford, for the electronic surveillance. So they get into the restaurant. Bob's like giving them more explanation about the mics that they're going to plant. And it's added that, that they're participating in a surveillance op as part of like their probationary handbooks. And so I like how they're still keeping in line with that. I mean, I had no doubt that they wouldn't, but Bob then starts to tell them about the dining room and, how they'll start in the kitchen after. And so then, they get Bob to like do an inspection of where they hid the mics before moving to the kitchen to find out that he died. So they all get back to the bureau. Garz is like, yeah, we should honor him by finishing the op. And Brendan, who just seems like he's perpetually tired in this episode, and there's no explanation as to why.
Literally.
But like also he was a whole mood with his chin on his coffee. Like sometimes that's just me, and I don't even drink coffee. So
then in like later he's like, we go to sleep now. I'm like, same, dude, same.
And literally like just killed it. So then everyone is on surveillance ready to watch Kazan's restaurant. And Carter and Simone are in the van across the street from the restaurant. Well, like Laura, Brendan, and Garza are across the street. Like I think the van was more so like just in front of the restaurant. But the Kazans pull in Tobias, his wife, daughter Elise. Like Simone gives them the rundown on who's who and some facts about them, just to like show how well she knows the case file. Like that's what Carter wanted her to do. So they see Tobias's team like sweeping for bugs, and they're like, are they gonna find them? But luckily nothing alerts them to one. And just as Tobias is like making the toast to his daughter, there's a gang of motorcycles coming. And I like how this is a callback to the rookie, because it's the same motorcycle gang that they've used called the Dead Bastards. And so Laura was like, they're like the most violent motorcycle gang in all of California or whatever. So Rusty Fillmore has a major hate on for Kazan. And Garz is like, everyone get ready to move in because this could be bad. So then Rusty's son Kellen is there too. And Rusty and Tobias, turns out that they're working together because they go into the kitchen to talk privately. And Simone and Brendan are like, yeah, this is a problem because there's no mics in there. We didn't get a chance to get that set up.
Yeah, I loved their faces though, because like you could tell they were like, oh no.
Yeah. And then Garz is like, there can't be any problems, but tell me, what's the problem? Like, I love Garza. Like, he doesn't want to put up with anyone's BS, but yet he puts up with it. Like, I don't know, I just love him.
Yeah.
So then Simone's like, put me in. Like, I'm volunteering to go in. I'll plant the mic. And Garz is like, no. But then he ends up allowing it. And even Carter is like, no, don't let her do it. Like, but she will pass for just a regular civilian. And Simone's like, be nice. So everyone's watching Simone. She gets the mic, like she's got the mic in her hand, and they can hear her while she's in the kitchen, and they hear things kind of start to go sideways. And then Carter goes in to save her, and they're acting like a married couple, and it was pure greatness. I loved
It
it.
was so like, oh my God. It was so funny though, because like the way the camera like did it, it was like cutting back and forth, and you saw like Carter like move like the tiniest amount and then do something else. And then I'm like, what is he doing? Like, is he just gonna go in there and act like a complete crazy person, like create a distraction or something? But nope, he went right into the kitchen.
Well, and I loved like the names that they, I mean, he was like,
Yeah.
Einstein, what are you doing? And then she's like, Luther. Like
Yeah.
it was so good. I think that was one of the scenes where I was like, I really love them as a partnership because they just they mesh so well with each other.
Yeah.
So yeah. But the mic is planted and they get Rusty and Tobias on the drop. So then Brendan, in eternal mood, is like, can I go home and sleep? And Garza's like, no, we have to remove all the cameras in the restaurant and you need supervision. And so they kind of look at Carter, and Simone's like, oh no, he's out because he's got, a date. And so Laura's like, I can do it. I got nothing going on. At which I was like, Laura, I don't like that for you. Like, do something else after work. Like, yeah. So then Brendan, Laura, and Simone, they're taking the mics down in the restaurant. And, Brendan and Simone are talking, and Laura's like, no gossip here. And Simone's like, what's got you like all hot or whatever? And like, you'll go over that later, I'm sure. But yeah, it was just too good. So then they get like all the mics down and they're like kind of ready to leave. And then they see Elise get out, like, because the vehicle pulled up, they see her get out, they hide, and then Kellen soon pulls up. And so they take some tequila from Grace and then they leave. But just as they're walking out, like a van pulls up and grabs them. So Laura calls it in, and they've got like, they're working on this kidnapping now. So to not blow their surveillance up over this, like they're gonna tell the parents that an eyewitness saw it. And so Laura's like, well, we have to proceed carefully because they're ruthless dope pushers and they could do something drastic. So Garz is like, well, I'll get Kazan, Laura and Brendan get Rusty, Carter and Simone have to lay low because they were seen at the restaurant. But he also has them digging into the kids' lives, like social media, crime records, all that. So Carter and Simone go through the online presence, and Elise posts everything on like online, whereas Kellen only recently joined the Dead Bastards motorcycle gang. And so he has no criminal history, no priors. And so Simone shares that like since he was non-existent in Elise's social footprint, she called his guidance counselor, and the counselor said that he was a C student but kept his head down. So then we see the parents getting questioned and they're confused because the kids never even met each other. So they say, and Kazan's like, well, how did the FBI know about this before we did? And Garz is like, well, an eyewitness saw it. So like, that's that. And Garza, like later in the episode, says that there was the judge signed off on the warrants to tap into Rusty and Tobias's phones. So they'll let the two men know, but they'll be able to know if either family gets a ransom demand from the kidnappers or like they conspire to do something illegal. So it turns out that Rusty ends up getting a call from the kidnapper, and it's a ransom demand. And Rusty like asks how he will know if his son is still alive. And so then there's a video of Kellen, and like they question why Rusty has a ransom demand and not Tobias too. And so they're kind of figuring it out. And they're like, well, maybe Kellen was the target and Elise was collateral, or maybe she's already dead. So then Brendan goes into like his actor mode because he remembers this from a previous set that he was on. And he's like, well, I can isolate the background of the ransom video, and run a web search for the photos with the same background. It's like facial rec, but like with objects and buildings instead.
Yeah. I love how Laura said that because she was like trying to like just understand what he was doing. Like I just love them.
Yeah. And I love how Garza was like, that's good. Go, keep going. Like, yeah. I love how Garza cheers on every member of his team. Like even when they kind of like suggest something like out of the ordinary or whatever, he's like, keep going with it. So then Simone and Carter get to the drop. They have eyes on Rusty and they keep watching the kidnapper. They keep watching for the kidnappers. They're getting close to the money so they can like see who comes. And then like we cut over to Brendan and Laura and they get to the house that the ransom video was filmed at, where like nothing is inside the house besides one guy. And there's like the motorcycle gang jacket. And so they hear someone calling for help outside, and Kellen's safe. He's tied up and beaten up, but he's safe. And he's like, I don't know where Elise is. They took her somewhere else. So then we kind of jump back over to Simone and Carter because it's like intermittent scenes again. And they're waiting at the drop place. And Simone's like, well, why aren't we doing things that you would otherwise think that they would, like put a tracker in the bag and, kind of follow them. So Carter's like, well, in theory, that's a good idea, but like we would essentially be without backup. So then the kidnapper rolls up, grabs the money, and as soon as that happens, as soon as they grab the money, Carter's like, okay, let's go take them. And then a couple of motorcycles roll up and like a shootout ensues. So Carter's like, I'll call for backup. And Simone's like, yeah, well, you do that. I'm going out there. So Simone goes out, commands the scene, yelling for the kidnappers to put their guns down. And she's like proud of herself for that. And I'm just like, yes, you go, queen. You go. So then like they're Brendan, Laura, and then Kellen are all back at the bureau. And Kellen's like, how's Elise? And Brendan, he's telling Brendan and Laura like what happened and how it happened. And he even shares like how they met at a biker bar. He's like, once I found out who she was, like I backed off, but she's stubborn and kept pursuing. So then the kidnappers are all lawyered up. And it doesn't seem like the kidnappers, like, they don't seem like they're kidnappers. We find out that they go to school with Elise, and then Simone doesn't think that Elise is as innocent as she seems. So they cut over to Elise and another guy. They're like watching the news, and she can't believe that the cops are like looking into this. And, the other guy says like the kidnappers are in custody. Like they don't know that she's in on it. And they think that was all his idea. But she turns around and shoots him twice anyway. And we see the blood splatter on the wall and like him literally die, which was graphic. But then like the next part was even more graphic. Like she's like, I'm sorry I had to do this or whatever. And once he's dead, she takes a knife to her arm and to make it look like he stabbed her. And like we actually saw her do it. Like, I don't know. The whole like rookie feds universe has been like getting graphic this season. So then Carter, Simone, and Garza all roll up on the location that like Elise called in, because she called it in to make it seem like she got free from her kidnapper. And Simone's like, I recognize the kid that she shot. And he's like all over her social media pages. And Elise is obviously acting like she's never seen the kidnapper, but like Simone calls her out. And then Tobias and his wife rush in and want to take Elise home, but Garza is like, no, she's the prime suspect in her kidnapping, Kellen's kidnapping, and now a murder. And Tobias recognizes Simone and Carter, and he's like, he thinks that they were going after his business, but Elise speaks up and she's like, it's always about your business. Like you always have to, work so that you can earn money or whatever. And you tell me to earn my own money. And she's like, and guess what? That's what I did. And Simone's like, and that's called the confession. So like you're under arrest. So they're taking Elise in, and Tobias is still pissed at Garza, saying that, they came for him through his kid. But Garza's like, that's not what we did. Like she made her own bed. And I loved, like, we get to the end of the episode and Garza's looking at the wall of plaques for agents that they've lost. And Simone, like, it's another entire team scene. And Simone says that she wishes that they could have taken Tobias down in his honor, in Bob's honor. But, Garza's like, it wasn't a complete bust. Because of the kidnapping chaos, his crew had to reroute the fentanyl delivery. And the wiretap caught one of his guys making a call he shouldn't have, and the DEA nabbed this shipment coming over the border. So as far as Tobias and Rusty go, they'll get him one day, but like that was a step in the right direction. And Garth's like, and it was a successful op. Like and Brendan, who's still so tired. I just kind of wish that we had like an explanation for why he was so tired, but like also I didn't necessarily need one because I feel like he's just a whole mood in that.
I mean, I feel like they were at least like they were going for like 2 days straight, or at least
Yeah.
almost 3.
But even then, he was tired before that, it seemed like.
I mean, I'm perpetually tired, so
Same. Same.
it's just a
But
thing.
it was so funny to like see him.
Yeah.
And like we had seen that one promo picture, and it was like, is that just like a Kevin thing, or is that like a Brendan thing? And it was definitely a Brendan thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Brendan, who's still so tired, is just like, the off started yesterday or the day before. Like, how many days have we been up? And I'm just like, honestly, feel that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the kidnapping case. I do like how they usually have like one big overarching case and then a bunch of little things. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it seems like kind of typical in a way to like make, like Elise be like involved. But honestly though, when they like panned over, I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna be, involved in it. But then I was not expecting her to shoot the other guy. So I was like, okay. They like,
Yeah.
changed it up a little bit. That was
Yeah.
good. And like people really just need to remember that things do live on the internet. Like,
Oh yeah.
the fact that she didn't even think to like delete it, like seriously.
Even if you delete it, like they're federal agents, like they could
Yeah.
bring that back up.
It's
But yeah,
that was kind of funny to me.
yeah. Oh, it definitely was. I was like, come on, seriously? How are you gonna
Yeah.
plan this and not think about that?
Yeah. Oh, and the darties, the day parties.
Yeah.
Simone like educated Carter on that. And then he used it later. Oh my God. Like explaining it to
So good.
Garza. Oh my God. So funny. Killed me.
I love the partnerships in feds.
Yeah.
Like I really do. And I like how so far they haven't totally changed yet, but like that could obviously change.
Mhm.
Because I mean sometimes in the rookie, like we see Tim and Aaron partnered up or like
Yeah.
Lucy and Nolan. But I've really grown to love like Carter and Simone and Brendan and Laura, like just the partnerships and the fact that they've a lot of team scenes. Like I feel like we get them together as a team a lot. It could just be because they're like a 5-person team and they're working together. But yeah, I love it. So
Yeah. I mean, they had, let's see, Simone and Brendan were in the wedding attire. And then you had like Carter and Laura like come in the beginning of the last episode. Yeah. But yeah, I like the pairings too.
I also love how like Brendan and Simone are friends from the academy, and then like Carter and Laura are friends or acquaintances, like they're close.
Yeah.
And I love how they have that going for them too. So yeah.
Yep. So speaking of Laura, we got to like learn more about her past, which, I'm always here for because I love Britt Robertson. And so I was like, okay, Laura centric episode time, let's go. Like I was so here for it. And like, I don't know, it was kind of funny because it's like Garza like knew about, her like failed relationship, failed engagement, like in the previous episodes, and then it's like Carter also knows about it, so like they're kind of the only ones that like I would assume know also about like that Katie was the one that was involved in it. And in this specific episode though, it's like Garza like first mentions it to Laura when they're just having a morning chat and like being all casual and stuff. And then literally like Katie like calls Laura's phone while they're chatting. And then Laura just like smashes the phone into a million pieces. Like instead of just like turning it off. And they were talking because like she was like, well, okay, maybe you could do another month in counseling then, because obviously this response is not normal. And it's like obviously, I mean, at least I'm assuming that like the counseling was because of the meltdown that she had like on the job, kind of because of the like finding out that they were cheating. Um, and I just love how Garza like tried to bring it up again, like in their first like surveillance round, and then she's just like, no, like we're not talking about it. And then even Brendan's like, well, who's Katie? And she's like, none of your business. Like she just doesn't have any time for it. Um, and like I wasn't expecting. I think this was the episode description where they were like, Laura comes face to face with her past. So I thought she was gonna see Sam. That's her ex-fiance's name, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that she was gonna see Katie. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense because they're like, well, they were friends or
Yeah.
best friends. They're not really anymore. But still, I don't know. I was just surprised that it was like Katie. And it's just like in the well, not in the middle of like the case, like they're not out in the field, like they're coming back to the office. But still, Katie just like shows up out of nowhere to like talk to Laura. And so they go into, I don't even know where the heck they went, to be honest. Like the not auditorium, but like the room with millions of chairs and the projector, I'm assuming.
Just like a conference room or something,
Yeah,
or like
that's
a
the
briefing
word.
room.
Yeah,
Briefing
thank
room.
you. Yeah. And so like they're talking and like Laura like essentially like congratulates Katie like on the engagement, you know, and she tries to like maintain this positive attitude even when Katie's like, you know, talking about Sam. And even like, I mean, you could kind of see Laura's face change a little bit, especially when the camera kind of like panned down to the ring. And then she's like talking uh kind of like in run-on sentences almost, like not really pausing. And she's like, oh yeah, you know, no, you guys are gonna have a great, you know, I'm sure the proposal was great and you guys are gonna have a great, you know, long engagement. Oh, with my same ring. Okay. You know, she just like does it like that, which I thought was kind of clever because it's like not exactly how I'm sure she wanted it to go, but that's how it went. Um and surprisingly, Katie seems to like to buy that for now. Um even though you can kind of tell it was difficult for Laura to like toe that line. Um, and obviously, like she doesn't do. I mean, she thinks she's doing an okay job of like hiding it, like how this is affecting her, like at work. Um, but obviously, her like slight irritation during like when they were removing the surveillance cams is like one example of like how she's, you know, being like kind of snippy with everyone, being like, okay, like, you know, oh, relationships, oh, I wouldn't trust that, you know. It's like she's like projecting that into her like professional situations. So um it's kind of interesting to me that like she decides to like change her approach like after she like considers what Brendan tells her. um and I thought it was good. Like Kevin delivered the line like so well about like the Pokemon cards. Um, and she was like, "What, you're trying to tell me a story from your childhood to make me open up about Katie?" And he's like, "Who said it was from childhood?" Like he was so just like I don't know, so like sincere, I guess.
When he
Um,
first said that, I was like, wait, Pokemon cards. Is he a 90s baby? Like,
yeah, maybe.
but then he was like, who said it was my childhood? I was like, ah, dang it. I thought maybe we could get like an age from him. Or maybe not even 90s baby, but like an 80s baby, you know, that like
Yeah.
grew up more in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, and so it kind of, you know, it still like breaks the ice, which I think was his like original goal. Um, and you know, she's like, no, you know, but I'm good. You know, I've been reading all these studies about how to deal with narcissists and, you know, toxic personalities. You know, and she's saying all this, but I mean, obviously she's like driving because they're in the car talking about this stuff, so she can't like really like turn and like look at him for long periods of time. But it was just funny. She didn't even glance over as she's trying to, you know, convince herself of this, that what, you know, her way is, you know, it's actually working. Even though Brendan being observant is like, well, you just, you look like you were gonna jump out of your own skin earlier. So, I think that you should forget about what the studies say and like feel your way through this and like really feel all the feelings that you need to. Um, and so obviously she like takes that into consideration. And she contacted Katie again and like asked her to come back. Um, and I just loved how like as the conversation's happening, like her voice is like getting louder. So she's like very much like standing up for herself and being like, why, if my relationship was falling apart, why didn't you tell me? Like she just, is just being like direct and like blunt and honest and saying her piece with things. And like I love how she was like, I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like the tone and like Brit's voice, like how she said it. She was like, and I'm this is why I'm so obsessed with my work. And I'm an expert profiler. So trust me when I say this. Cheaters always cheat. It's like,
Yeah.
it was just so good. Like, it was just,
Yeah. She almost said it like cheaters always cheat or whatever. And like, you know what? I've got closure. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good after this. So,
Yeah. It was just good. And just like, she, you could just tell it was like,
yeah.
lifted. And obviously during this whole time, like I'm assuming Brendan could like sort of hear the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
He put his hand, well, he was like on the phone at first, like in the, I don't even know what they call it, like bullpen. I don't know if that's what I'm calling it. And he like holds up his hand like someone else was gonna talk to him or something. He's like 1 minute. So like I don't know if he was like looking over because he was like on hold and so he was hearing other conversation or what, but I thought that was kind of fun. And then obviously his like smile because he could hear a little bit about what was happening was cute. And then just like they're just good friends. I don't even care if it's like just platonic between them.
Yeah.
Like they're just fun and I just love it because he was like he just looked at her and he just like smiled and
he was like feel better or something.
Yeah, and she was just like it didn't totally suck and he's like yeah, and
Well,
just
yeah,
he just complimented, it was just like it was awesome. Did it feel awesome? She's like, yeah. So it was just it's just a good moment. And like their expressions kind of mirrored each other too. So they're like pulling a Maleric and being like all in sync. So
well, even like him kind of smiling down like at his paperwork or whatever, like when he heard her kind of like going off, I was like, oh my God, best friend duo right there.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, even he's just supportive of his friends and like his coworkers because even like in the beginning of the episode when they were going through everything with Bob Telford, like, Simone was like, I'm the dazzle, bees the razzle or whatever, or it might have been flipped or whatever. And even he like smiled down and I was like, oh, like, I don't know. I love seeing this rookie feds cast.
Yeah.
That's all that I can say.
Sunshine.
Yes.
Personality.
Yeah.
And I just love it. So they had their moments and they were good moments. And like I said, I don't even care. I mean, I'm just happy they're like, partnered up. Like, I don't care if they just stay friends. I mean, I wouldn't mind if it turned into something else, but I'm just here for the supportive vibe that they have.
Yes. Yes. And then we have Carter and his wife. It's just kind of a short little bit. I feel like we need more of like a Carter centric episode. Like we've had little short bits of him, and I'm like, I know that James can like bring it. I just want like more. Because like he played like an FBI agent in Good Girls. Yeah. And I'm just like, I know that he can like bring his A game. So yeah. But anyway, like they're on surveillance and Simone's like looking over at Carter and he kind of like gave her the rundown of like what all she needs to bring and stuff on undercover ops or on surveillance ops. And so, she's like, I know you're not looking at food right now. And he's like, she asks him if he's like ordering food, and he's like, no, I'm looking at a dinner reservation or a dinner menu later for this reservation that I have with his wife, and it needs to be special. And so Simone's like, you pretend to be a tough G-man, but like you're really a romantic. I see you here. And so Carter and his wife like later pull up to the restaurant, and he's like, I looked it up and everyone raves about bone marrow crostino. And his wife is like, great, that's my favorite. And I'm like, ew, like bone marrow? I don't know.
I mean,
I'm
it's supposed to
sure
be
that,
really healthy for you and like really,
and I'm sure that it's cooked like a different way, but no.
yeah, but still definitely a acquired taste, I'm sure.
I would rather have the mushroom that was on Tim's plate in the awkward double date and like all of that than bone marrow crostino. I'm just saying. Um, so they don't even get past the car, and his wife is like asking about the promotion, which like I don't know. I guess, it doesn't hurt to ask, but like also move on past the car. And he's like, yeah, that's off the table. And she's not mad, and that's the problem. And she's like, the only feeling that I have lately when it comes to us is indifference. And Carter just comes to the realization that, they haven't been them for a long time. And instead of keeping the reservation, they just go home. Like he drives her back to the house. Um, so then like later on in the episode, Simone's like, so how was dinner with the wife? And he's like, we didn't make it to dinner. Like, we're getting a divorce instead. And Carter's like, I don't want to talk about it. And that like paralleled Laura not wanting to talk to Brendan about her personal life.
Yep.
So that was nice. A nice little parallel. And so as they're going home at the end of the episode, Simone like meets up with him at the elevator. She asks him how he's doing, and she's like, if you don't want to talk to me, fine, but you need to talk to someone. And so he shares that it's his son that he's worried about. And Simone's like, listen, I've worked with kids for a while. They understand a lot more than we think that they do. Just be honest with him and tell him the truth. And it'll all work out in the end. And I thought about this on I think it was the third rewatch. I was like, they're very similar because like they've both been through or are going through divorces. They have kids, like, so they can relate to each other in a way. Like, I don't know. I just liked how she kind of brought that back, but also like didn't make it about herself in that moment. So
yeah, I feel like Carter, Simone, and John can have like a divorced people support group.
Yes. Yeah.
As long
And
as John
Nyla.
doesn't monopolize the conversation. Oh, that's true. And Nyla, yeah.
I'm trying to think anyone else, but no, just Nyla, John.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Tim technically, right? Because he and Isabel got divorced, presumably.
But they don't have kids.
That's
but
true. They don't have kids. Yeah.
I mean, he could still talk about a divorce. His was in a very different way, though. Like, I feel like Nyla and Donovan, well, she focused a lot on work, but like they just grew apart. And same with John and Sarah. But yeah, so yeah, that's it for Carter and his wife. Again, we just need like a Carter. We need more Carter storylines, or like a heavier Carter storyline.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so like this is gonna sound like so dumb, and people are probably gonna be like, why would you think this? But I literally thought that like the like Tracy or whatever like was supposed to be Carter's wife, like in the very first episode. Because she like showed up at his hotel room, and I'm like, what are you doing?
So I thought that they were gonna like hook up when she showed up to his hotel room.
So I'm not the only one that thought that it was like so bizarre.
Well,
and like just confusing.
Yeah, because like we had already seen her like ask him to be a mole or whatever, and then I was like, she's showing up to his hotel now. Like, are they like enemies to lovers? Like, what are we doing here? I was
so confused because I was like, okay, I know, like, based on the like, I don't know if it's like character description or something, like some article that like you knew he was gonna be like having a strange like thing. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is like the tension or whatever. Like, I don't know. It was so confusing. And then like his wife like didn't show up till later. So then I'm like, Oh, okay, that's his like
Uh-huh.
it was just I don't know, it was just kind of odd how they like did that.
Well, even Tracy like knew, that they were
Yeah.
like getting a divorce and all that. And I'm like, I don't know. I still just kind of feel like something was going on with Tracy and him, but I don't know. I wonder if we'll
It's like
see
odd.
her again.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. So sorry if people are like, why would you think that? I don't know why. I thought I was just like confused slightly. Um, but we also had a little bit about Simone's love life, which is always, I was excited for it, still excited for it. I just hope it doesn't go like become a whole like roller coaster.
Same.
Like I would like it to stay steady.
Yeah.
Especially since like, the rookie doesn't have their like LGBTQ
Mhm.
character anymore. So it's like
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have that like for feds and just have that be like stable.
Well, and like Feds doesn't have like a ship yet because like Carter and his wife are getting divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Laura is single, and
Mm-hmm.
Brendan, as far as we know, is single too.
Mm-hmm.
We don't totally know, but like there's not like a ship on there that we can like root for. So hopefully that can be Dina and Simone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it was fun. It was fun to like see them. Because obviously, if you guys didn't know, Nisi's wife Jessica portrayed Dina slash DJ. Um, and so you could definitely like see the chemistry. Like you just tell they have like fun working together.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like flirty right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like it was, oh, we have to like get used to like yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's flirty.
Yeah, it was just very natural. Um, and so Simone's like finally coming home, like from the first like break that she's had from her overnight shift, and she sees a person, I guess she hears someone humming a song and like compliments them on it. Um, I kind of thought that it was like not funny, but just like it was an interesting way to like start off it, like having it be a little bit awkward because she's like, "Excuse me, sir," and then it's obviously not a man, as a female, and um, she goes by DJ, and she Ruth's daughter, right? Yeah. And the reason why she was like by Simone's house anyway, she was stopping by the house because Ruth had left notes from the book club, and like Simone was like, my dad has a book club. Like she had no idea. She was so like caught off guard by that.
Cuddy definitely lives a double life.
Oh, for sure. Are you kidding me? My God, the man
Yeah.
has like so many like just things that just are surprising
Hmm.
and whatnot, especially in like this episode too,
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Also random, but I want to know how he got his nickname Cuddy because we know his full name is Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yeah.
random, but I would just
Mm-hmm.
like to know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now I want to know too. And so like Jennifer said, like they're flirty like right off the bat. And DJ asked for Simone like to have Simone put her number in. Um, and she asked her if she'd like to go. There's like a jazz fest that's like happening at the park, and like Simone's like, I would love to, but I can't because I have work, but maybe some other time. Um, and so obviously that like assumes that they're gonna make plans to see each other later. And I just thought it was like funny, like she's going inside or whatever, and like um I don't know. I was just like so thrown off though that Cuddy was like warning her like to stay away because of the drama. And I'm like, she seemed like the chillest person ever. I'm like, what drama could she possibly have?
Yeah.
Like she just seemed so relaxed and like had such a like just chill vibe.
Yeah. Well, and he was so serious about it too.
Yeah. And just I mean, I guess it was just really just meant to like throw
Yeah.
us off.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And just like, because obviously, like we see later, like they're FaceTiming each other. Well, like once when they're doing the surveillance, I guess, with Carter. And it's when they make like dinner plans for later. And she even like asks Carter, I think she's like, does she seem like she's dramedy, or like is dramatic? And he's like, I don't want to know about any of this. um, but it's like no, because I don't know. It just, I mean, I'm sure like we said, some of that is probably just, Niecy and Jessica, just how they like are.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know, it just really like threw me for a loop.
Mhm.
Because I wasn't expecting like, well, until Simone like FaceTimed her dad and like noticed that he was all like dressed up, and she's like, where are you going? And he's like, I'm not telling you anything. And
Mhm.
so he's like obviously being like sneaky.
Yeah.
um and it turned out that he was going to date Ruth and didn't want Simone dating Dina while he was with Ruth. So, and so like he is, like he's like apologetic. He's like, I'm sorry that, that it like that he did what he did to like, put like a, like a stop to it. He's like, that's okay. Um, and part of the reason why Simone is so, like okay with it is obviously because DJ's already in her room, and when
Mhm.
she comes back, and so they're like continuing their date night, I guess. So it was just fun. I'm
Yeah.
glad that like they cast like real life, like real life couple.
I love how like when she like introduced herself or like said that she had just met like Ruth's daughter or whatever. I love how they were like, "Oh, Cuddy, like you didn't tell us that your daughter like, is into women or whatever." And I love how they made it like so nonchalant.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Loved that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he was like, well, she is, but that's like her business, and so he was just like good to know that he like,
He's cool with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just everything is just fair. Like, just their dynamic, like Cuddy and Simone are kind of like chill in a way too. They just kind of just
Mhm.
go with the flow of things, even though, even though, like we said, Cuddy kind of seems to have a double life,
Yeah.
like most of the time.
But
So,
I also love how he's not afraid to still like kind of quote unquote be a parent to her
mhm.
after so many years. Like, because I
Yeah.
mean, even what last episode, he was like, you just like have to be safe and like
Mhm.
button up one more or whatever. Like, it
Mhm.
just, yeah, I don't know. I like their dynamic. I like everyone's dynamic in the show, and I can't explain it or put it into any other words besides that. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yep. So that was the Simone love life for now, anyway, because obviously it'll
Yeah.
be coming up in the continuing episodes. So
Yeah. And I think that was it on Rookie Feds because we didn't have any listener thoughts that I
mhm.
saw. So,
No, I didn't see either, but people like to talk about it still. So
yeah.
chat with us about it more, guys, if you have
Yes.
thoughts. Like, let
Like
us know
just
so we can put them in here.
just because we record like a week later and
Yeah,
the
doesn't
episode
mean we
airs,
don't want to hear them.
yeah. Yeah. We definitely want to hear them. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think
So I don't. Do we have any final thoughts about anything?
no. I'm just part two of the crossover needs to hurry up.
Yep. Mhm. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So with that being said, you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod underscore, or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. And as always, we are on Twitter individually as well. I'm at Carrie Hyman, and Jennifer.
I'm at JStarcade04.
Oh, and Jennifer did this awesome thing and created a TikTok account for us. So now you can also find us on TikTok, which is the same as our Twitter handle. So it's like the
Kind
Shop
of.
Talk.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Shop Talk Podcast, excuse me, underscore.
Yeah,
So,
it was a whole thing to create that. I was having trouble, and I like kept knocking potential usernames out for us because I was like creating accounts and having to delete them. So yeah, that's the closest one that we could get.
yeah, so it's the Shop Talk Podcast, still with the underscore.
And yeah, I mean, we've only got 2 TikToks up yet, but I don't know how much you want to follow us for that. It's gonna be chaotic, but you know what? That's our brand, so
It's true. And I know nothing about like I don't know anything about TikTok. I seriously don't. So Jennifer's like the
I know.
whiz with that. So like send her like if you have ideas or like things that you want to do. Cause like I won't know how to do anything like with it at all. So
I mean, I didn't either until I don't know, a week ago. And like Saturday, I spent like 2 hours on TikTok. I've never spent that much time on TikTok. I'm like,
see, I don't even have
this
the
is a
app on my
huge waste of
phone.
time.
I just like it's just the one thing that I just like I don't understand it. And I just but you know, like
I didn't either
more
until I
power
was
to
on
you.
it more. And like I've sworn
Okay.
off TikTok before because I was like, this is just no. But like, I don't know, there's only so much scrolling that you can do on Instagram. Twitter is like a dumpster fire half the time. And like Facebook, again, only so much scrolling you can do. So yeah, I'm on TikTok now. Like, and my personal account, somehow I found the way to corporate America TikTok, which, hey, not bad. It's like
That's
every other
funny.
one is like mine, like speaking to
Oh
me and my
my God.
job. So it's fine.
That's funny.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so we're on TikTok.
yeah.
That'll be fun. And we link the videos like on Twitter too. So if you
Yeah.
like want to like go from there and then follow those, that works too. And if you guys like this episode, we would really appreciate it if you left us a rating and review. It just really helps out the podcast overall, and we would just really appreciate it. And wow, we have a lot of stuff.
I know.
Oh my God, we have so much stuff because you know, you guys know we have our TeePublic store. And they're like always having sales. So
Always.
like keep an eye out for that. We'll like tweet out like when there's discounts or like when they're going on. When the sale's going on.
I think there was already like 2 sales this month.
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be like a third. Yeah. So
yeah. And you know, so I mean like, you know, the designs are cool and it's just fun. You know, it's another way to be a part of the fandom community.
yeah. And get rookie merch that doesn't have John Nolan plastered all over it. No shade, but like, you know, I mean, yeah,
just variety.
It's fun merch and it was made by fans. And yeah. Our talented friend is amazing and created a lot of them and has been so gracious to let us post them on our TeePublic store.
Yes. So next week we will be back covering 505 of the Rookie and 104 of the Rookie Feds, which is the part 2 of the crossover. So we'll get to finish that up.
It's gonna be a wild one, I think. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, as if this one wasn't already. So you'll get another one. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm interested to see who goes over into 104 Feds. Like, yeah, who? Angela and Nyla? Because Nyla hasn't made an appearance yet in Feds.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. For sure. But yeah, that is it for us tonight. So we will
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, God bless you. I'm sorry to your ears. Maybe not.
You know what? I'm proud of us because we were having like audio issues before this.
We're having so many things.
So I'm just proud of us that we've powered through. So yeah.
Yep. But anyway.
Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.